Behind the Line from Oklahoma State University. I'm Alex Dusky. Here with me today is Ian Nickel. Parker could not make it again, but I'm so happy to have you on the show today, Ian. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me on. Happy late birthday, by the way.
Thank you. Yes, yesterday was my birthday, so had some fun then. Big weekend for Oklahoma State football. Came back and won against Kansas State 20-18. It was a pretty strong defensive game, obviously a pretty low-scoring game. What did you see from that game?
Well, the first half gave me a heart attack for sure. I was so nervous. I was prepared to be like, you know what? We had a good run. Let's just go to San Antonio for the Alamo Bowl. No big deal. But no, this win puts us back in contention somewhat. We got to win out the rest of our games, but we're in a good position when it comes to the Big 12.
If you win out,
Yes,
you have a chance.
absolutely. I was very impressed with how everyone stepped up. Chuba hardly played. Tylen was out.
Everyone was injured. We had Chuba was out. He didn't practice. He didn't practice much, but then he did play. LD also did not practice, but played. Tylen, I think, played one snap towards the end of the game.
Yeah.
Coach Gundy in the post-game conference said that they were down to so many young guys that he did not know who was playing in the O-line.
I didn't know. I didn't know who was playing in the O-line either.
But yeah, the first half was scoreless. It was 9-0 at halftime. K-State with the 9 points there. And then in the third quarter, OSU finally scored a touchdown midway through the third quarter.
Yeah, no, defense kept us in the game all game.
And that's what Gundy's been saying this whole season.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a weird season because normally we rely on the offense to get us the victory, but this
Especially
year,
in the Big 12.
yeah, because the offenses are really stagnant or really good in the Big 12.
Something that I also thought was important to note is that Kansas State did attempt a 2-point conversion after their touchdown in the second quarter and failed. So if they would have made that, it would have been 20-20 and we would have had an overtime.
I don't think my heart would have been prepared for that. So honestly,
Handled
I didn't think about that at the time. It was like, oh, that was a big move, and that ended up kind of costing Kansas State the game right there because then they had to go for the 2-point conversion with 2:08 left. So
yeah, they had 2 failed 2-point conversion passes. So now OSU is 5-1. We are still 14th in the nation. Didn't move up at all, but teams like Wisconsin, who haven't played in 2 weeks, moved up. How did you feel about that?
honestly, like the way this season's worked out, it's just like it's kind of up in the air at this point where we have teams that are just started with Oregon. Oregon's at 11 right now.
And we'll talk about that more.
And
later
I'm not really like I don't really know how to feel about it. I'm kind of okay with it, just because we look at everybody: Alabama, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Clemson. Like
it's a strong
top 10, and I'm not super mad about that.
Parker and I were talking with Sadeep last week. Hypothetically, if everything else goes wrong at the top of the polls and everything else goes right for us, we still hypothetically could make it to the playoffs. But I think right now the team's just trying to focus on that Big 12 championship. I think we're tied first in the Big 12 standings right now with only one conference loss.
I think Iowa State has the edge on us just because they have one more win.
Oh, that's true, since we had our Baylor postponement.
Yeah.
Kansas State is now 4-3 and 4th in the Big 12. A student or a player that stood out to me was Brendan Presley. I talked about him a lot preseason, and the last couple games I believe that Coach Gundy's been putting him in more, and he did have a touchdown. He was the first touchdown of the game for the Cowboys. Have you seen anything from him? He's a receiver out of Bixby.
I actually got to see him play one game last year, and it was a 72-0 just beat down, and I was on the opposing end of that, calling for Putnam City. So yeah, the kid's good. The kid's really good, and his brother might be even better, and we just offered him a scholarship today.
Is his brother a senior this year?
His brother is a junior, I believe, at Bixby. So
We got a couple more years then.
couple more years, yes, yeah. But he's been playing really good. He stepped up on that reverse play that got the touchdown and cut the lead to 5. He's looking pretty good, and he could be good for years to come in this Oklahoma State offense.
That's what Gundy has said. He said how that the team is just really excited to have him here, especially. It is important to note that this week is a bye.
Yeah.
Especially with all the injuries. We had a couple more injuries this last game against K-State as well. So I think the team is really excited. I know Coach Gundy is to hopefully get those players back. But that's it for our Oklahoma State wrap-up. When we come back, Sam and Ben Hutchins will be on to talk about Cowgirl soccer. Stay with us. Welcome back to Behind the Line. I'm Alex Tusky, and with me is Ian Nickel, and we are joined by Sam and Ben Hutchins, Ocali soccer reporters. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you guys doing today?
Guys, we're happy to be here, and I wanted to say your birthday was a couple days ago. Sam and we had our birthday on the 9th, so
oh my gosh,
it was us,
wow.
and then you and Ian, you just broke the streak on us, man. Like,
Yeah.
could have
My
had
bad.
some
Change your
consecutive birthdays
birthday.
here.
Oh, my bad. I was
Yeah.
born in June. Sorry.
Well, I'm glad we could all celebrate and be together on the show today.
That's right.
You want to just leave so that way we could have like a little birthday celebration? I'll just go ahead and start us off. So, Friday, Oklahoma State defeated Texas Tech 2-1 in overtime here at Neil Patterson Stadium. Give me a little breakdown of what happened there.
Well, it was really one heck of a way to end the year for the Cowgirls. It was the last game in Neil Patterson Stadium because obviously a shortened season. So, that was the end cap. And then that's when they had senior night, too. So it was really quite fitting end for the Cowgirls. They won it 2-1 in overtime. Really the last second hero all season has been sophomore Olivia Dow. Mm-hmm. And with, what was it been, just like a handful of seconds left in the game, I think 30 or something?
Yeah, it was getting down in overtime.
She scored the game winner in the first overtime period. Mm-hmm. So if two overtimes happen and no one scores, then it's a draw. So it was a pretty clutch goal for the Cowgirls to finish it off right.
And also, there's another nice moment in that game where freshman Rebecca George got her first ever goal as a Cowgirl. It was, kind of awesome to see everyone kind of like rally around her. And after that first goal, she was definitely pretty excited. So when a player gets that excited about a moment, it gets us in the media excited as well.
Something that Adam's been talking about is like the young freshman and sophomore class. So do you still think that like the next coming years are going to be good for Cowgirl soccer as well?
Yeah, especially, and Sam can hit on this too, but like, seniors, they might not be leaving. So I know you talked about the young players, but this Cowgirl team has a lot of seniors and upperclassmen who are going to just be around for, if they want, another year. But even after that, an additional year of eligibility they get, this freshman class is really good, Sam. Like Kiona Simon, like we said, Rebecca George, like those freshmen, they're going to be having some big plays in the future.
No doubt. The roster lineup, it will look, who knows how it'll look, because some players, they might graduate and want to move on with their life. Some might want to come back for another season. Everyone has the option with the COVID kind of like redshirt year, if you will. But the Cowgirls, they definitely have a great freshman class right now. Kiona Simon's been starting the whole season. Rebecca George, like you said, she's been playing well. And then Grace Dennis has found a spot in the midfield to happen to. So young players, they've been really impressing for the Cowgirls. They've won some, Big 12 Player of the Week or Freshman of the Week awards. So it's been good to see Coach Carmichael have so much production from his young players.
Well, good. That's exciting. Something that isn't so exciting is that, TCU was announced Big 12 champions, which Oklahoma State was last year. But you guys were talking about before the show that it's not for sure finalized, or the playoffs, or what's like happening with that?
Yeah, so Sam, he pulled up the picture as we were leaving the dorm room to come to this, and he showed me the picture of all the TCU players crowded around that trophy, and it was like, wow, like OSU was there last year, so definitely no, not the greatest for the team to not have that moment this year, but like you said, there still could be a chance for some hardware later in the year. COVID, we've talked about it before, everything just gets messed up completely. Extra year of eligibility, as we all know, like we're all sports people, COVID's changing everything. And a change potentially that could happen is next semester, that would be the fall semester, there could be some sort. Did I mess up?
The spring semester.
The spring semester? Okay, yeah, that shows where I'm at in my week of busyness. No, but yeah, Sam, there could be some sort of college soccer kind of tournament to select a national college soccer winner in this next semester.
Right, the NCAA canceled all the postseason tournaments that would have happened this year, so they kind of hinted at maybe a glimmer of hope that there will be some sort of condensed tournament next semester. So obviously it'd be weird if your seniors are carrying you and then they leave and their team is still playing a tournament. So it'll look weird. There might be a little bit of an asterisk by it, but there might be some type of condensed tournament, which means that games now in the present, even though Oklahoma State is like eliminated from the Big 12 contention, with a limited field possibly, they'll need all the seeding help they can get. And right now the Cowgirls, they're going to finish either second or third in the Big 12 mathematically. So they've certainly had a great season. We'll probably expect to see them invited to the tournament if it is. But let's be real, even if the records are awful and both teams are winless, a Bedlam game always means something a little special.
Right, and real quick, Bedlam is tomorrow. Predictions for that game? I know the Sooners are 0-6-1.
That's right. And the Cowgirls are on a little bit of a 2-game win streak of their own. I'll put it at 2-1 OSU to finish off the season.
Yeah, the notable thing is not only OU's record, but the way they've gotten their record. OU's been shut out 6 of their 7 games, and they scored 2 goals in a tie against Texas Tech, but other than that, they have not scored. So Emily Plotz has been playing well as of late for the Cowgirls in goal. And I expect kind of a shutout. I'll go a bookend of the first game of the season where Oklahoma State won 3-0, and I'll predict the last game of the season to be 3-0 Oklahoma State.
All right, well, hopefully it'll be a good game for our Cowgirls and we can get a Bedlam win. Thank you so much, Ben and Sam, for joining us. When we come back, Ian and I will be recapping some of the sports from this weekend. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Will Joyce, the Mayor of Stillwater. As mayor, it's my responsibility to help develop plans for a variety of resident needs, including roads, emergency services, and utilities. Some of those services are paid for with federal money that the government distributes to states and communities based on Census Bureau data. This is your tax money coming back to our community, but if you or your household aren't counted, we lose nearly $1,200 per person to places like Texas, Kansas, and Arkansas. So help bring that money back to local communities by filling out the 2020 census. This year, it's easy to do. You'll receive a postcard in March 2020 with a unique code for your address. Using that code, simply go online, call, or request a paper copy of the census and fill it out. I want to make sure that you and your whole household are counted in the 2020 census. It's important not just to Stillwater, but to all of Payne County.
Welcome back to Behind the Line. I'm Alex Teskey. With me is Ian Nickel. Big weekend this past weekend with football. Pac-12 started. Some highlights from that is number 20 USC narrowly defeated Arizona State 28-27. I know last week Parker was really hopeful that his Sun Devils would win, but unfortunately they could not pull that out. Number 11 Oregon easily defeated Stanford 35-14. Nothing really unexpected there. Does anything else stand out from you from those two games or any other Pac-12 games?
I think Colorado defeating UCLA is kind of interesting because UCLA, they recently hired Chip Kelly.
Right.
Is Chip Kelly on the hot seat now? That could be a interesting sign to look forward to later because UCLA has not been the same since who even knows how long. They have not been. They're kind of like the Nebraska of the Big Ten or the Pac-12,
Yeah.
where they're supposed to be relevant, but they aren't.
Scott Frost is trying, though. Don't cut them out.
Yeah, no. I know. He's 0-2 right now, so maybe he could turn it around against Penn State.
Right, that's a big game coming up. What do you think about any Pac-12 teams being in the playoffs? I have my opinion, but I'm going to let you share yours first.
You want me to go first? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know because it kind of depends on, I mean, I guess can they play the season without any COVID bumps?
Right.
And then B, I think how big the brand is. Because I think if USC were to go undefeated, they might get ahead of Oklahoma State just because of brand recognition.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Oregon. Because
I think Oregon definitely has the edge on that one.
yeah, absolutely. Because I think they want a West Coast team with some brand viability. Because if you get Clemson, notable brand, Alabama, powerhouse, Ohio State, powerhouse, and then Oklahoma State, it's like, okay, one of these things isn't like the other.
Right, something's not right here.
Yeah, but if they get Oregon, it's like, okay,
Makes sense. We've seen this every year.
Yes.
I agree with you. As you're saying, there's no room for error. They're only playing 6 games, and the SEC is having some major COVID problems that we will talk about later. But, I know life's not fair. I know football's not fair. But I just truly cannot think anyone on the playoff commission panel can be like, yes, Oregon plays 6 games undefeated against Pac-12 opponents who aren't that stellar and put them in over a team. I'm not saying over Oklahoma State. I'm just saying, if Georgia's the 5 seed versus an Oregon team, with Georgia's only 2 or 3 losses, you have to weigh the pros and the cons there.
Playing really well.
Right, they have been.
BYU.
That could be a wild card.
Yeah, could this be the year they finally get a group of 5 team in? I'd look forward to that. I think Cincinnati could compete with the best of them.
I think so too, and I would definitely look forward to seeing a team that's not Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State.
Yeah,
for sure, I think a lot of
for
people.
sure.
Speaking of teams not being first, the Patriots
Ooh.
in the NFL this weekend, they almost lost to the Jets. They trailed until the 4th quarter, where they then scored 13 points and held the Jets to 0. I was talking with some other friends last week, and they were like, "How whack would it be if in 2020 Bill Belichick purposely tanks the Patriots because he knows they're not good to try and get a first-round draft pick?"
Dang, I feel like we're giving them too much credit almost because it's like, oh, they got Cam Newton. Oh, it's over. They're gonna win it all or whatever. It's
They
like,
did not.
well, no,
I think they're 3-5.
they're 3-5 right now. Oh, the other
That's
thing.
what I like to see.
Yeah, we all love to see it. I was texting a friend like, yo, imagine losing to the Jets. Couldn't it be me? And then they ended up winning. I was like, well, dang.
So
I
close.
jinxed it. But yeah, I mean, they have a lot of defensive players that have opted out at the beginning of the season, so maybe they'll be stronger next year. It's gonna be weird to see where Cam Newton ends up. Like, do they retain him? Because I don't think they will.
I don't think so
But-
either.
Like, if they don't get a top pick, like, where do you go? Do you go Justin Fields? Do you try to get another quarterback? Because
Lots of decisions to be
Very-
made there.
very,
And
very much so.
the face of the Patriots, Tom Brady.
Yeah.
It was the typical, well, not so typical, Tom Brady versus Drew Brees matchup
Mm-hmm.
with the Saints versus the Bucks. Saints won 38-3. Brady was sacked 3 times and threw 3 interceptions.
I don't know how to explain that one because I was going into this week like thinking, okay, Saints Bucks top game.
It should have been a good
Yeah.
matchup.
I think we were thinking at the beginning of this that the Saints were gonna be frauds, and then they just come
Right.
out and just boom, 38-3. Domination.
I mean, again, Tom Brady, I don't mind it.
Yeah.
NBA starting December 22nd. We'll touch more on that when we come back from this commercial. Stay with us.
Hi everybody, my name is Emily Shooping. I'm your marketing coordinator for the Made in Oklahoma Coalition. I'm coming to you with an amazing opportunity. We are teaming up with the Ocali Media Group at Oklahoma State University. We want to tell your story on the following platforms: streaming, newspaper, and digital. This opportunity will not only allow your story to be told locally, but nationally as well. I am so excited for each of you to join in on this tremendous opportunity. This will not only be good for your business, but it will be good for our great state of Oklahoma. You can be expecting an email from me soon with more details about this opportunity. Local has a name, local has a face, local has a flavor. The Made in Oklahoma Coalition.
All right, welcome back. As I was saying right before the break, NBA announced a start date for their 2020-2021 season on December 22nd. What all have you heard about that, Ian?
Well, they're planning to start December 22nd, like you said. Should just carry out like a regular NBA season up from that point,
Right.
in where they get back on a normal schedule, and then those guys that want to play in the Olympics can. Because I think that was the whole goal, was to try to like finish the season before the Olympics started, because there was a lot of guys that wanted to play, internationally, and then maybe some for the U.S.
They are having a 72-game schedule, and they are hoping to have fans. Nothing's for sure yet. They did say pending a vaccine. If that comes out, then they're more likely to have fans. Someone that's in a little bit of issue are the Raptors, because Canada has a rule that you have to do a 14-day quarantine if you cross the border. So unless they can get special permission from the Canadian government, the Raptors don't really have a place to play their home games.
I heard that they were looking at Nashville potentially.
Oh?
Yeah.
To compete with the Memphis Grizzlies
Yeah,
then?
because there's the Bridgestone Arena there, and that's more than a capable arena. It
Well,
hosts-
heck, maybe I'll be going to some games then.
Hey, that'd be
this
awesome.
season.
Tennessee Raptors.
Yeah. Weird name. All right, so as we were saying before, the SEC is suffering right now. We have the Georgia-Missouri game has been postponed, Texas A&M versus Tennessee postponed, Auburn versus Mississippi State, Alabama versus LSU. All of those games have been postponed.
Yeah.
And then on the Big Ten, Wisconsin has finally set to play this weekend, and Ohio State versus Maryland has been canceled because the Big Ten does not have enough time to make up games. How does the SEC recover from this? Where do they go from now?
Well, I think your goal now is to just protect Alabama and Florida, because those are going to be the
That's
teams
the only
that
teams we
make
care about.
those are going to be the teams that make the SEC championship. So protect them at all costs. at
And
that
Florida
point.
already had their spike a couple of weeks ago.
So that kind of benefits them
Right.
just a bit. But if you're Ohio State, I think your goal is to just make it. Just go as far as you can, because if they end up going 5-0, where they have a couple cancellations, that's not gonna look great on a
Right.
resume. It's like,
Again, it's the fairness that I was talking about.
yeah, absolutely. I feel like if you get 6 games,
Because that's how many
I'll give
Pac-12
you-
is
yeah.
playing.
I'll give you a little leeway. But 5, no.
I don't know. It's Ohio State, though, so
It is.
sometimes the rules
It
are
is.
bent.
And here's the thing, like, Maryland's a good team. They were a really good team going in. They have Tua's brother, Tuala Tagovailoa, and he was really good in the
I know,
Minnesota
a lot of these
game.
games were supposed to be good matchups. I was looking, and it's like the only SEC game that has any weight, or not really weight, it's just going to be interesting, is the South Carolina versus Ole Miss game, because it's Florida
Yeah.
versus Arkansas, which Florida should win easily. And then
Don't underestimate Sam Pittman, though, and the Hogs.
I don't know.
They're
I mean,
sneaky.
I do know they beat Tennessee last week. I watched it, kind of hurt a little, but it's at Florida, and I think that Florida knows what's at stake, so they're determined. And then Vanderbilt versus Kentucky. Nothing too special there. The SEC is just really lacking this year, especially this week.
Oh man, for sure.
Switching across the league to the NFL, Ben Roethlisberger, Big Ben, put on the COVID list. Steelers are 8-0 for the first time in franchise history. They are playing the Bengals this Sunday. What are the odds that the Bengals win while Ben Roethlisberger is out? Mason Rudolph is expected to start and end the Steelers' winning streak.
You wanted to talk about this because you're a Bengals fan.
Maybe. But it's also, Mason Rudolph, Oklahoma State grad. People are really excited to see him.
Yeah, I don't know. Big Ben has a weird thing going where he just meds up and he's just automatically back. We saw that in the Cowboy game where oh yeah, both of his knees are hurt. Second half.
Saw it with Nick Saban.
Yeah.
Beating COVID.
Dude, Big Ben has some sort of science on his side. I'm going to say there's a 60% chance Big Ben's going to play. Somehow
I wouldn't put it past the Steelers. I would not to see him. But, I do hope that Mason Rudolph can play James Washington. I know a lot of people around Stillwater are hoping to see that matchup again. Mason played last season, I believe, when Ben had a shoulder thumb injury. Mason played, I think, a couple games. So
yeah, got hit in the helmet or got hit in the
then
head
Mason
with
got
the helmet.
Yeah, that was rough.
Not a great look.
Switching sports completely. The Masters starts tomorrow. Normally, the final round of the Masters is played the second Sunday in April, but now it's coming at the end of their season. Tiger Woods is the defending champion from 19 months ago. That was the last time the Masters was playing. Do you have anything to expect, or are you going to be watching it tomorrow?
Oh, absolutely. Dude, the Masters is one of the best golf tournaments in the world ever. I wish it was in April, but,
COVID, as we've talked.
Honestly, I don't want to say anything because last year I said take the field over Tiger Woods, and then Tiger Woods ended up winning. So I don't want to say the same thing.
Right.
Every golfer has a shot, but look out for Matthew Wolff, the Oklahoma State grad.
Of course.
He's been playing some good golf lately. Him, John Rahm. I think John Rahm's really good. So watch out for those two guys.
Well, of course, I'll have to watch it as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Behind the Line. Make sure to tune in next Wednesday. You can watch on Suddenlink Channel 112, Amazon Fire Stick, Roku TV, and Apple TV. I'm Alex Dusky. This is Ian Nickel. Thank you for joining us. Go Pokes.